Hi, I'm Claire from Mental Health Chats, and today I'm really excited because I've got Jason Spendelow with me from the Flexible Man Project. Hello Jason, how are you?
Hi Claire, I'm good, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
This is part of our wider series. Find the full interview in the playlist for this series.
The Flexible Masculinity is the compassionate mind.
Yeah.
So tell us what your thinking is around the compassionate mind.
Yeah, so we've taken a lot of the ideas from the work on compassion-focused therapy, which was developed by a psychologist, 𝗵𝗆𝗆𝗀𝗆. And what he talks about with compassion is that we need to kind of understand that there are certain design elements of our brain that we can't do anything about. We were born with these brains. We didn't kind of have a say in what kind of type of brain we wanted implanted in our skulls, you know. And understanding that there's certain things about how we are as people and how we act that are kind of beyond our control, that we didn't kind of control. And the way our brains operate, being kind of very threat-based, for example, this is kind of an evolutionary fact of life that our brains are developed to work in a certain way. So it's kind of giving ourselves a break for certain ways in which we cope or respond to stress and adversity. So rather than giving ourselves a really hard time and beating ourselves up, which just makes the situation worse, we kind of acknowledge that there's certain truths about our brain that we can't get away from, and we're often battling the kind of emotion-driven survival bit of our brain. We're trying to balance it with the more thinking-based bit of our brain, the ability to kind of perspective take and problem solve and plan, and those two bits of our brain try and balance at each other. But if we're not careful, that kind of primitive survival emotion driven bit of our brain can kind of take over and get us to act in ways that we later regret. So it's understanding the biology behind our behavior. That's one part of compassion. And another part of compassion is really trying to counter these very rigid, prescriptive brands of masculinity that says we can only be a certain way, we can only think certain things, do certain behaviors, and when you deviate from that, you're kind of regarded as a failure of not having measured up against this very inflexible, strict kind of standard, and often a very unattainable brand of masculinity, not to mention how unhelpful it is. So this compassionate mind training is really trying to increase flexibility by not getting caught in the trap of saying there's just one way to be as a man, and if I don't kind of get there, then there's something really wrong with me.
Oh, that's really interesting. So you coach through the compassionate mind strategy on how to get to that space.
Yeah.
So thank you, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you, Jason.
Welcome.
Bye-bye.